Oh, there's a very tangled web here, but Brit Hume, Fox News senior political analyst, is joining us now live to help unravel some of this. Good to see you, Brit.
Hi, thanks, Shannon.
Okay, so we have the development just moments ago that we've learned that Michael Flynn is not going to comply with the Senate subpoena. He's going to invoke his Fifth Amendment right not to turn over these documents, as Catherine Harris reported. But I know that could really complicate things because there are multiple investigations going on here. What do you think's behind his refusal?
Well, I think he's correct to think that in this current atmosphere that turning over these materials might make it difficult for him to refuse later questions that he might consider to be self-incriminating. But I think what we're looking at here is this kind of thing has happened many times before, Shannon, and what committees can do to get around a refusal like this is to grant immunity from prosecution, what they call it, I guess they call it limited use immunity, so that whatever he says or does or surrenders in the course of cooperating with the congressional investigation cannot later then be used against him by a separate federal investigation, a criminal investigation. So that might be what his lawyer is looking for here, is to protect him from coming out and saying things that could later be used against him if he changes his story or it changes in some small way and so on. I think his lawyer is doing the smart thing for his client here. But it gives you a very good idea, as Catherine Harris was suggesting, of just how much of a tangle you get into when you're trying to move forward simultaneously with a big federal investigation at the same time there's a congressional investigation going on, and it tends to stall the congressional investigations to a considerable extent.
Yeah, because if one group of investigators or one investigation has granted that immunity, as you said, limited, purpose immunity, and there are other people that want to talk to Flynn, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, it can slow things down, as we already know that these special investigations often take years at a time, and the Senate committee has said, don't expect any rush from us. We're going to take as long as it takes. And that one's probably going to get done before the Mueller investigation gets done. So a lot to wait for. In the meantime, we know that a House Oversight Committee Chair, Jason Chaffetz, has said he's going to speak with Comey today. Comey's agreed to publicly testify with the Senate Intel Committee in the next couple of weeks. It sounds like Chaffetz is also looking to get him before House Oversight. We'll see about that. In the meantime, here's a little bit of what Jason Chaffetz had to say about how this whole thing's playing out.
What I have heard is that I believe Director Comey and I are going to have a conversation on Monday, and so I have not spoken directly with him. It's important to remember nobody's actually seen these documents. Even the reporter at the New York Times has not seen these documents. So there's been an awful lot written and said about it, but I don't even know that the Department of Justice has them. Maybe Director Comey has them. I don't know where they reside. I don't know if they are documents, but we're certainly pursuing them.
But a lot of people trying to get their hands on those documents. In the meantime, a lot of the media has just run full steam ahead with them, assuming the veracity, that they exist, they're true, and everything else.
That's right, Shannon, and I think, it is very likely that in the course of these congressional investigations, however glacially they may move, that these Comey notes that he made, memos to himself to memorialize what is said in various meetings, will come to light. And we certainly imagine that the one that was quoted from by a Comey associate to the New York Times will come to light, and we'll see whether the remarks that what he said there is in their fuller context mean what they seem to mean, which is a big question. And Comey is in a tight spot, Shannon, when he testifies before the Senate Intelligence Committee, because if he takes that comment about can't you give Flynn a break, can't you let this go here, to have been an attempt to impede his investigation, that raises the question of why Comey didn't blow the whistle right there. This is a man, Comey, who has shown a willingness to threaten to quit in the past over things, and if he said not a peep about it, it would suggest that perhaps he did not take it as an effort to impede the investigation. And if he testified to that, obviously that would be very good news for President Trump and his team. But all that remains to be seen. That's the kind of stuff that's going to come out here. Comey will be unlikely to be, he's likely, to be unwilling to testify to certain things. He can't talk really about classified information he may have come across. And he may feel that with this ongoing investigation that he's bound by the same rules he was bound by when he was still at the FBI, which is to say you can't publicly comment on the details of a criminal investigation still unfolding. So I think some of what he said, like what he said to what he and the president said to each other, that's likely to come to light. But how much we will know about what this investigation has found, if anything, I'm doubtful about how much we're going to find out about that.
Yeah, there's always caution with these hearings on the Hill. People
Exactly.
get very excited, and sometimes they're nothing burger. But we'll have to see. Brit Hume, thank you very much. Good to see you.
You bet, Shannon. You too.